Hello, and welcome to Phil Brown's Computer Networking Lab. You're watching the instructional video called Hyper-V. Here we are on the server Hyper-V1. Our goal for this video is to install the Hyper-V role on this server. But the first thing I want to do is to take a quick look at the network card. I'll go to the control panel and then to the Network and Sharing Center. As you can see, I renamed the physical adapter to the name physical adapter, and there is no other adapter currently here. That will change after I make some changes inside of Hyper-V. Let's install the application now. I'll open up the Server Manager and choose Add Roles and Features. Here we can see that we're installing it on the computer known as Hyper-V1. I'll put a check mark inside of the Hyper-V role. Even though they give us a chance to connect the physical adapter, I actually want to wait until the program is running before I configure that. And these are the default locations of where the files for running Hyper-V will be placed. Okay, let's install it. We're going to have to restart the Hyper-V server before we can use it. I'll pause the recording and I'll see you on the other side. Okay, it's finished rebooting. Let's pull up the Server Manager and take a look at the Hyper-V installation. I'll right-click this and then choose Hyper-V. This is the Hyper-V Manager. I'll click on the Hyper-V server. Here we have a number of functions in the action pane. This will allow us to control the Hyper-V server. The first thing I want to do is to set up the virtual switch. Here we have a choice between external, internal, and private switches. External allows the virtual machines to connect to the outside world. Internal allows it to only connect to the server. And private, the virtual machines to connect to each other, but not the host. Let's create a virtual switch. We can change the name right here. We can choose which physical adapter will be used from this drop-down box. And here we can see that we have the choices of external networks, internal networks, or private networks. And this VLAN ID will allow us to create separate virtual switches so we can give each virtual machine separate connections from other virtual machines. This is just a warning letting us know that if we create this virtual switch, there may be an interruption going from the local host to any outside networking devices. Now let's create our first virtual machine. I'll hover over New and choose Virtual Machine. Here I could give my virtual machine a name. I'll just call it Windows 7 Demo because I'm going to install Windows 7 on this virtual machine. This allows me to control how much physical memory I will give the virtual machine. If I choose to check on the checkbox that says dynamic memory, that option will start with a minimal amount of memory and add it on as I need it. And this allows us to decide which virtual switch we're going to use. I'll use the switch that I created earlier, VM switch. And here I have several options for creating my virtual hard drive. I'm going to allow my virtual hard drive to be 127 gigabytes in size. I could pick one of these other options, but I won't. And this allows me to decide how I want to allow my virtual machine to access the installation CD that will be needed in order to install the operating system on this computer. I'll choose to do it later because I'm going to use my physical drive. And finally, this is a summary of the options. I'll go ahead and create the virtual machine. Okay, here we can see that the virtual machine demo has been created and is currently in the off state. Over here in the action pane, we have the Hyper-V commands, and at the bottom, the Windows 7 demo commands. I want to change some of the settings on this. I want to configure the virtual DVD drive so that it points to the physical DVD drive. Okay, let's turn on the Hyper-V Manager. Here we can see that the state is running and is producing CPU usage on this virtual CPU processor. I'll open up a connection window so we can see what the screen of the virtual machine sees. Here we have Windows installing on the computer. I see that I forgot to put in the Windows 7 CD. Oh well, Windows Server 2012 worked just as well. We're just demonstrating how Hyper-V can install a program. As you can see, we can also operate the controls by clicking on the drop-down boxes and even typing into the virtual machine. And now let's take a quick look at the Network and Sharing Center so we can look at the network adapters. Here we still have our physical adapter and our newly created Ethernet switch adapter. Let's take a look at the physical adapter first. All the protocols that were previously checked are no longer checked inside of our physical adapter. Only the newly created Hyper-V extendable virtual switch protocol is now active. Now let's take a look at the newly created virtual Ethernet switch. They now have the checkboxes that the physical adapter used to have. And we can also access the IPv4 dialog box. It has the exact same IP addresses that we used to have on the physical adapter. In other words, the virtual machine switch has just replaced the physical adapter. Microsoft has given us a very useful tool for running virtual machines through the use of Hyper-V roles. I hope this video has been informative, and I thank you for viewing.